Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Mayer.
Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. Why do I know it's amazing? I know it's going to be amazing because we have an amazing guest today. And this has been the podcast that has been requested in our Generosity Generation group for several weeks. So we had to produce it. This guy has become a quick celebrity in the Generosity Generation. For those of you that are not members of the Generosity Generation, go to joingengen.com. That's joingengen.com. Go to joingengen.com and check it out. This gentleman is doing us all a favor. He is taking his coaching time. He is one of my one-to-one coaching clients, and he is taking his coaching time to do this recording with us. So I want to be respectful to that, and you need to be appreciative of that when you talk to him in GenGen. So without further ado, I want to introduce a top producing mortgage professional. He is Scott Edwards from Santa Clarita, California. His website is mortgagedoc.us. He is one of the most referred lenders in the U.S. at least, and maybe one of the most referred lenders in the world. Think about that for a second. That's a pretty awesome title. And so without further ado, Scott Edwards, welcome to Referrals Podcast again.
Thank you. No, it's always exciting to be on this.
So the trigger for GenGen was 170 referrals, right? So here's the thing. If you haven't listened to the podcast we did several weeks ago with Scott, I encourage you to go to referralspodcast.com and look that up. There's a nifty little search function there on the site, and you can look up Scott or Edwards or movie, probably would be one of the keywords that we used. And we did the preview. Like, we were like, all right, let's talk about the flow. Let's talk about invitation process and sequence and the confirmation sequence. And then he had his event, and there were 170 referrals exchanged at this event, right? So he generated 170 referrals. And today we're going to talk about how he did that, but we're not going to stop there. The cool thing about Scott is he didn't just do one event in the last month. He's done two. So he did his movie theater event with his clientele, some realtors, some professionals, and then he followed it up with a first responder event, Top Gun Maverick, and added to the $500 million that Tom Cruise has generated over the first 2 weeks of the launch of that movie. And just an amazing last 6 weeks for Scott Edwards. And Scott, I thank you for being here to tell us about it. And let's start with the movie theater event that you did. What was the show that you did first? Sure. For your sphere of influence, what we call the tribe or the community.
Yeah, so that was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, another Marvel movie, and it was a hit. I mean, do you want me to go into like the theater and just more details around it?
Yeah, I think the big thing is just tell us what did you do right, and we'll just make this whole thing kind of right, wrong, better for Sure. the first movie, and then we'll do right, wrong, better in the second movie, and then there's going to be a ton of conversation that comes out of all that. So
absolutely.
So this is what we do after every event is we do it's called a red, white, and blue form, or a RWB, which is for right, wrong, and better. The only thing wrong I've found with event review is not doing the event. So not a lot wrong. We'll talk mostly about right and better. So what went right with Dr. Strange? And he's the mortgage doc. So I hope everybody doesn't miss the power of the mortgage doc doing Dr. Strange. There's alignment there. So I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kept it simple, right? I mean, we've done this event a few times, and I think what we learned last time is we had these elaborate, lot of little things and these little details, and it just created quite a process. This time we went just super simple. We figured out that we went to SurveyMonkey and we got our door prize entry form on a QR code. And so we had people arriving at the events around 9:30. They knew they were going to get let in about 10, and the movie would ultimately start around 11. So we had people standing in line filling out the door prize entry form for the giveaway while they were standing in line, just going on the QR code and filling that out.
By the way, love that. You've got them filling it out as they're registering. You've got them filling that out while they're waiting. One of the biggest movie theater event mistakes that I see out there is the movie starts at 11. They have people get there at 10:30 or 10:45. And what happens is it's a herd, right? They just come in, they go in the theater. The theater's dark, it's quiet, it's subtle. There's no energy in the theater, right? Until the movie starts. So the beauty that you did is you had them get there an hour early. And so people are there early. They have plenty of time to do one of the objectives of the event, which is to refer you and your sponsor partners.
Yep.
So they had plenty of time to fill that out and give you more information and to refer you. So that was a huge, huge thing that you did right. You had a registration table too. Just talked to a client who only got 44 responses out of 145 people, 44 entry forms. And why? They didn't have a registration table. So there was no funnel for people to go to do what I would consider one of the most important steps. So love that. All right. So they went to the registration table.
Yep.
They did their phone. They clicked in. They filled out their door
prize entry form.
Door prize entry form.
Yep.
And then where did they go from there? What did they do from there?
Yeah, so they were all waiting outside. So I was creating this energy outside. And at 10 o'clock is when I was able to let them in. Now, they were also known that, like, hey, you're not going to be able to get into the theater till about 10:45. This is the first time for Doctor Strange. And so they got into the lobby. And while they were in the lobby, I was standing in another area on the other side, and I had the golden ticket. So you'd mentioned at one of your events literally having a golden ticket. So I made a golden ticket. So
explain the golden ticket to those that maybe aren't familiar. This is something that I teach heavily in Event Mastery. So, let's talk about how you implemented it.
Yeah, so for me, it was an opportunity for me to get more one-on-one time with everybody. So it was a forced funnel to have to come to me, right? Because they obviously, the golden ticket, I was able to make an arrangement with the movie theater just for them to write down, tally up all of the items that they purchased. So they got to go to the concession stand with the golden ticket and get one item, whatever they wanted. So they came over and I asked them a silly question because it was Doctor Strange, what's your favorite superpower? And, we got to talk and hang out. And so that was a great moment because a lot of the people I've actually physically never met. Because in the world that I do business at, I do a lot of Zooms because I don't meet clients face to face in a general setting. So seeing a lot of my clients face to face was very cool. So that's what we did with the golden ticket.
And the thing is so what's the thing that could maybe happen if we don't implement the golden ticket strategies? You don't get a chance to shake hands and love on everybody. Yep. And with the golden ticket, they're going to come to you. Why are they coming to you? Well, one, they want to talk to you, but some don't want to talk to you, but they're still going to come talk to you. Why? Because you have something they want, which is a golden ticket. And in this case, Scott did some brilliance. He said you can have anything you want at the concession stand. So who doesn't want anything they want? It wasn't good for soda pop. I wouldn't even have gotten in line for that because I don't drink soda pop. Popcorn, Sherry doesn't like popcorn. So it's like she wouldn't, but it was anything you want. And then he whispered, don't get candy because I've already got some for you inside. So they didn't have to get candy and they could get anything they want. So it was like a double win to talk to this guy, which is the brilliance of the golden ticket strategy. For those of you that went to RMS 19, we did the exact same strategy with me in the back of the room. I had tickets for your drinks. So you came to me, I got you free drinks. Most of you came to talk to me just so you would get free drinks. I appreciate that. And it's one of those where it's another, here's the other thing that it does. It causes flow in your space. So you don't want to stand right next to the registration table with your golden tickets. You want to stand at the opposite end of the room. You want to triangulate, if you can, registration table over, let's put it over here, and then you over here, and then concession stand is going to be over here. So there's flow to that, and nobody's running into each other and getting confused about what they're doing at that attraction. So his event had 4 real attractions: the entry to the theater, it had him, registration table, and the concession stand. So if you space those out correctly, you have this great flow, and people are running into each other, but it's a lot slower and less confusing. So I love that. Hey, Referrals Podcast listeners, I am so excited to introduce you to Fight Camp. A lot of you have noticed that I've lost weight, that I've gotten in shape, that I look better, my face is thinner, and I have to tell you that's what makes me really excited about one of our new partners at Referrals Podcast, and that is Fight Camp. When I first started getting back into shape, my personal trainer had me grab a pair of boxing gloves just like this, and I noticed that in my core, I was seeing a difference very, very quickly. And honestly, sometimes when you're early in the process, it feels great to see results quickly. And that's what I was seeing. And that's what makes Fight Camp so awesome to me. I want you to check out Fight Camp. It has thousands of workouts on the app. They're all led by experts. And they can meet with you on your own terms, right? So the beauty of this is that there are live punch stats. So you literally know how strong you're punching, how long you're punching. So you know you're getting stronger. You know you're getting quicker. And honestly, the progress is everything. I love that about it. And you can even go head to head. So you can actually box with someone that's across the world, and you have the opportunity to even like do it in a family. So Max could work on his, and then I could work and see if I could beat his best. So I love that competitiveness to it, and that's big for our family, as he's nodding his head on that. Max, what do you have to add?
This is the biggest boxing community in the world without leaving your home.
Yeah, we talk all the time on Referrals Podcast about building your tribe of trust. One thing I love about Fight Camp is they're building their tribe of trust, and they've built this large group of people who love to work out, are looking to get in shape. I want you to check out Fight Camp. You can join fightcamp.com/referral. So you get free shipping when you join Fight Camp. I hope you check it out at joinfightcamp.com/referrals, and you will get free shipping on any package that you choose. Joinfightcamp.com/referrals. All right. So what else did you do right, do you feel?
Yeah, so we the other thing is we then had them standing in the theater now, right, in line before they got into the theater, right, because it was first come first serve. So everyone's standing in line now. They're forming a line inside. Now during that process, I had a photographer and I had a videographer, and they were going by. And by the way, we just did it with our cell phones, right? We kept it real simple, right? Nothing crazy, because iPhones now and cell phones are great for video. So we just went over and we had somebody do testimonials like, what do you love about the mortgage doc? How do you know the mortgage doc? So just simple questions like that. So I have footage for later on that I can build off of and create.
What was the best answers that you got to that? Or what was one that really stood out? Have you had time to review those?
I actually haven't. Okay. I have not. I literally was just texting.
Dude, you got to watch those. I can't wait to see like what they said. Here's what's really funny. They're like, they didn't know you like 24 hours before. Now they'd met you. They'd shaken your hand. You had given them a gift, and you were about to give them like the top movie at the time. Like I love the mortgage doc. He's the greatest ever. Oh my God, this guy is the best guy ever. And it's like, yeah, you didn't know him 24 hours ago. So I love it. All right. So, and then another thing that you said you did really well was, the prizes in the giveaway, right?
Yes.
So what did you do well with that?
Yeah, so I got to tell you, so the TVs are the best. They're not expensive. Generally, like the Sam's Club had like a TV, a 65-inch for $500.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing's just massive. So we did a 65-inch TV because it was kid oriented. Nintendo Switch we had an Oculus, and then we had all the partners we love. They all donated something. They had their prizes as well. They were more specific to what they were, what they do. But we had those large prizes sitting out. So obviously the door prize entry for it was an easy entry. So
I love that you call your sponsor partners we love. Yeah. I love that. I love the vendors we love and the sponsors we love, but I love the partners we love. That instantly puts them in a special category to your cult, to your community, to your tribe.
Absolutely.
All right. So what would you do better, do you think?
What would I do better? So I think what I did this time around, that was the next movie, what I did a little differently is the DJ in the room, right? So everyone was standing outside, I had music bumping. He had set up in the movie theater 2 massive systems. It was huge. It was bumping music. So the first time I let him in about 15 minutes. And I could tell they were getting a little antsy. So the next time I actually let him in 30 minutes, but the DJ was prepped and ready to go, where he had like Top Gun. So we did Top Gun, which was the next one. And he had scenes from Top Gun, kids playing the volleyball scene, and he just had energy going. It was just, that's what I did differently, because the energy level was just great. It wasn't crazy the first time, even more so the second time.
So here's the thing. So there was a DJ in the theater at the first event, and at the Top Gun second event, you utilized a tool that you had and didn't realize how good it was. You used it better the next time, right?
Exactly.
And I love that. And here's what's amazing. So let's finish up the Doctor Strange movie, and it's like, all right, so you got 170 referrals.
I did.
Right.
Yes.
And so how many did your DJ get?
23, I think.
23 referrals for your DJ.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. People are like, oh man, I don't know if I can afford a DJ. I don't know if I can, spend the money on a DJ, or I don't want to spend the money. And I'm telling you, music matters. Music is an energy source. Music matters. And a good DJ is worth, their money in gold.
Oh, absolutely.
And so here's the thing. So you paid him maybe, and then he got 23 referrals.
Yep.
You may never have to pay him again in your money, because he's going to do it for the referrals. Mm-hmm. So okay, so 23 referrals just for him. That was awesome, right?
I mean, the financial advisor, he got 22. The numbers are just crazy. So, and they were
crazy cool.
What's that?
Crazy cool.
Yes,
crazy
correct.
Awesome.
Crazy.
Right?
That is correct. Mm-hmm. It is definitely, it's a cool conversation to make that phone call to somebody and say, hey, so I spoke to all 22. They definitely want to sit down and talk with you. So just wanted to let you know that they've already prepared and they're ready to speak with you. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And how many did you get for lending or?
So I got 15 that we're working on right now. That was for the first event.
Yeah. So what's interesting with yours is that sometimes we'll get somebody that has 100 referrals, and it's like they'll get 60 and they'll dole out 40, right? What's cool about this story is you got 15 and you're doling out 155. Mm-hmm. So getting sponsors is no longer a problem for the mortgage doc for like the rest of your career.
Yep.
Because here's the difference, right? You can tell potential sponsor partners anything you want. You can tell them anything you want. But if you show them like literally a list of 22 people who have raised their hand and have interest in their product, they're going to sign up at once and they're going to pay you far more than you ever imagined. So I love that. So, all right, now, I love it. You did a lot of great things on this event. And I also love that you have already followed up, right? Yeah. You followed up with the referrals and that kind of thing. You had a couple of weeks to do that in. All right, this is a little bit of a funny one, and maybe I shouldn't tell the story. But so Sherry and I were watching a movie, and she was in shorts, and I was like dressed for bed. and we're watching a movie, and I reached over and I put my hand on her leg, and it was like, oh my God, her skin is typically pretty soft anyway, but it was just like magically soft, like my hand melted into her leg. It was like, all right, what are you doing? And so she had actually like showered and kind of gotten ready for bed, and she had done this coffee scrub and this body oil. We reached out to the company, and that's how we kind of came today. So tell us about Palermo and what they do.
I recently fell in love with this company called Palermo Body because of how they've changed the way I'm finding time and fitting it into my schedule. Palermo wants to change everyone's perception of body care and self-care with their incredible 100% natural ingredient products. Right now, my two most favorite products are their coffee scrub and their body oil. They are 100% all natural ingredients. I love using their products because the extra moments I take for myself when I'm using them are so easy to fit into a packed day, and they really center me. Meanwhile, my skin just loves the ingredients.
And me too.
And I am totally a convert.
And so am I.
I never thought that I would use an oil after a body scrub because usually oils are so heavy on my skin. My skin is so sensitive. This is literally the first body oil that did not make me feel greasy and awful. So we partnered with them for this episode, and they are giving all of our listeners a special discount. So if you want to try the coffee scrub and the body oil that we've been talking about, all you have to do is go to palermobody.com/referrals, and Palermo is PALERMO body, BODY.com/referrals, and you get 10% off.
The cool thing about Referrals Podcast and the Generosity Generation is we only vouch for things that we can vouch for. We have a lot of people who approach us about a lot of different things, and you know what? We can vouch for this, and the fact that they're giving you a discount just makes it a home run. palermobody.com/referrals. And, we talk a lot of times about routines and habits. And, I think you're going to be happy to create your own routine with Palermo. They are really big into, helping you create this routine, this healthcare routine. And I love that. You can check out all their products at palermobody.com and then go to /referrals for the 10% off. And then it was your first responder, and I haven't talked to you since you had this event. This event was just a few days ago.
Yeah.
So tell me this, why first responders? Why vets and first responders? Why was that your focus with this?
Well, first, Top Gun obviously had that veteran component to it already. Plus, I'm a huge advocate for veterans and VA loans and dispelling the myths. So obviously, I want to do my best to give back. My brother's in the military. But first responders like nurses, my grandmother's health isn't great right now. And so I've been dealing with a lot of nurses and been to the ER with my two little foster kids that we have. And so dealing with nurses. So it just felt right. It just felt right to give an opportunity to give back to those. And just as a huge thank you to them. So it was very cool to have a room filled with first responders and veterans. So
yeah. So all right. So tell us about it. What'd you do right? What'd you do wrong? And what would you do better?
Yeah, I mean, this one again. This one was what we did differently. Obviously, was we expanded the time for the DJ, and I prepped him ahead of time, so that went well. I also didn't speak as much. So the last time with the Guardians, I spoke more, and I spoke first. And this time, the DJ, who's also an MC, he did more of the speaking ahead of time. And then I just jumped in right afterwards instead of before. I jumped in right before the movie started and just said a few words and just said thank you. And then we started the movie. So that went well. The other thing is I did change up the door prize entry form. And one of the things I added in this case was, where was it? I love connecting with great people. If you have someone in your life, your circle that you think is great at what they do, I'd love their info below so I can connect with them after the appreciation event.
That is very daring to do. With how many did you have attend?
Over 200.
Yeah.
It was 225, I think, something like that.
Yeah. So with 225 people, that's a lot of follow-up for connections. So how'd that turn out?
So out of that, we got, interesting enough, it wasn't as many as I thought, but it was enough. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, it was a question I've never asked before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wanted to expand my circle of people in my life, or
Yeah.
I've connected with. So it was 27 was the number. So
Okay, that's manageable.
absolutely,
Right?
yeah.
So I like that. And here's the thing that people need to know about this question is that, like, there are steps on the way to referring. Referring is a big deal. Referral is a big question. It's a big word, right? It's like, ooh, I'm referring my reputation. I'm referring my trust. I'm like that. But there are steps. Like if someone won't, like, ask somebody to do a recommendation or a review, right? Like for a 5-star, if they won't review you or recommend you online, they're not going to refer you. Right. And then there's these other levels, right? Connection, right? Connection is that next level is if they won't connect you, they're not going to refer you. But if they will connect you, they are more likely to refer you. And then the next level above connect you is introduce you. If they won't introduce you, they won't refer you. So these are like little tests of referability and your relationship with that person. Are you in the referral zone or not? Well, if they say that there's a person that they want to connect, well, listen, that's a pseudo referral. That's a quasi referral. That's on its way to, introduction and then referral. So, he's going to take the connections. He's going to get 20 out of 27 introductions, maybe 27. Well, if your introduction, that's just one step below referral. So, these are people that went from maybe not even knowing him or potential champions or just fear to they are now champions. They literally have expressed interest in referring him. So you got 225 people to move, 25 people out of 27 people out of 225
Right.
to move closer to you and closer in the relationship. So yeah. I love it. I love the question. I'm really glad you did not get 200 out of the 225 because then you're letting people down. Yeah. Right. And that's definitely where you do not want to go.
Correct.
Okay. And then how many, did you get some referrals out of this?
Yeah. So this one also came with this was a little more. It's about 22.
Now that actually surprises me a little bit that you got more referrals from this one, but was this an entirely different group of people than the first one?
Yeah, so that was interesting, right? So that was the one dynamic shift I think was different is that obviously Doctor Strange had a lot more family and kids. Yeah. This movie was definitely geared more nostalgic. So you had a much older, a group of people in the room. Yep. So that was more of an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
Here's another thing I'll tell you is the first responder and veteran group. As a whole, I'm going to stereotype a little bit, but only from my experience. So other people may have, is that they are very slow to refer because they are cautious people by typical nature. They are slow to refer, but once they refer and you do a good job, then the floodgates open up and you are the man for the veterans at VFW. You are the man for veterans in the Army at that post. It's amazing what happens when they have a great experience with someone. But they're not the stranger who will typically refer you. They won't refer you until they know you, they see you, they trust you. So I was actually surprised that you got more referrals from this one than you did the other one. And maybe it was just your process was better. Maybe.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, I think we've got this system pretty dialed in. We don't want to totally change up a bunch of stuff. We don't have any bags or anything like that we give away. I just think it's more stuff that people carry around. I think the one thing you and I talked about, I think on a phone call was, with the door prize, the golden ticket, right? So I had about 75 more at this event. So I was a little, not nervous, but I was a little thinking like, if I give my card and give golden tickets to a lot more people, that the expenses for the concession was going to be more.
Right.
So the last event was about $400 out of 100.
Okay.
people.
All right.
Yeah.
I got it right there. Right. I mean, here's the thing, right? And I'm so glad you brought that up, because sometimes with events, people, it's like, it's the cost. It's the cost.
Sure.
It's not, first of all, nothing is a cost. It's an investment. Everything is an
Agreed.
investment. You either invest for the joy or the status, or you invest in the hope of a return, right?
Sure.
So you invested, I mean, what's funny, 150 people.
Yep.
And the total concession bill was how much?
Just over $400.
$400. I mean, it's just like I mean, people are always astounded at how small that really turns out, you know?
Right.
All right, so now we got 225, and they're all adults, so they have bigger stomachs,
Yep.
right? So how'd that go?
$675.
Okay, so that wasn't bad,
No, not bad
especially
at
if you have sponsor partners that you love who will cover that for you.
all.
right?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, so it was Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
What time was it, and what day was it?
Yeah, so this was on Saturday. I try to be I want to be the first movie in the theater. So
Yep.
we basically have the theater to ourselves.
Yep.
Same thing, same process.
What time? 11 a.m.
So 10 a.m. was when they were supposed to arrive.
Okay.
Now, the one thing I did at this time was the night before, I sent out an email because we use Eventbrite, and I
Yeah.
just sent another detailed email just preparing everybody, because I knew this one we were going to have a much bigger turnaround.
Yeah.
And I didn't want people upset about why am I waiting? What's going on? So I
Yeah.
explained a little bit more of the process.
Okay.
And I just said, hey, there's going to be a big turnout, right? Everyone's going to be waiting outside. You'll do the QR code for the door prize entry form. And then when you get into the room at 10 o'clock, you will still have to wait inside. So it'll be first come, first serve. So I explained that a little bit more, because I learned the first time around, people were a little taken back that
Yeah.
they were going to have to continue waiting in line.
Yeah.
So that's simple, just a heads up, definitely went well, because I didn't have any of that when we were there. Yeah.
In first world problems, brother. Your problem is you have too many people waiting in line, which is a great problem. And here's the thing, though, is that brings up a great opportunity to wow once again, is when they're waiting in line, what are some things we could have them do? So that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the clown was invented. That's where the magician was invented. That's where the balloon artist was invented, right? The card tricks, right? That's where those people really come in handy. Are the one, and they can move around and they draw a crowd, and people don't even realize they're waiting when they really are waiting, right? It becomes part of the show.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, let's say, like with movies, people want like their first choice of seat. It just is what it is, which is why AMC went to the choose your own seat thing, right? Well, here's the thing that you could do, and I don't know if you did it or not, but when they come to register, they get a number. So the first ones to register get the lower numbers, and then when you line up for the theater, you line them up in number. So if they got there early so that they could get in early,
Right.
then they can still get in early because they have the number one,
That's awesome. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you may want to incorporate it like a numbering system, right, for the next
Yeah, I
one.
like that.
And I have to tell you, don't change. Keep doing movies.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You're owning the movie event. I mean, how many total referrals did you get at this one?
163 total.
Yeah. So 163 total. I thought the number might be a little lower.
Yeah.
So 333 referrals in 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, like, do you have a mic you can drop? It's like just knock it over to imply. So, all right. So, what was the cost investment of the first one?
So the first one ran just about 7,500.
Okay.
And just a big cost really is the movie theater. So
That's right.
I picked the biggest one, which is 280 seats.
Yep.
And at about, I think it was 14 or 15 bucks a seat. So, and now the first 3 rows, so I don't ever pack like the first 3 rows, because
That's right.
So I set it up at like 240 was the max seating,
Yeah.
so that way everyone got a decent seat.
Doesn't get a bad seat.
Exactly. And then obviously at the cost for the giveaway prizes and those kind of things.
Yep.
So it ran about 7,500. This one, I ran just about the same. I did add in I added on another TV, and then they had an Xbox at Costco. So I added on an Xbox. So, had an Oculus and a Nintendo Switch. So,
You are techie, dude. You're the techie guy.
Yeah, it was,
Like, we don't need to go
fun.
buy anything. We'll just go to Scott's next event and win it. It's all good. I love it. I love it. Well, it definitely has a modern feel to it, right? When you're doing the TVs and the Oculus and the Xbox and
And someone said to get a smaller TV this time, so I had a 65 inch and I had a 50 inch because I guess people typically have their big TV, so they're more interested in maybe a smaller one they can put in the garage or something like that.
Or you could even go 36 and 43 inch, just so you know.
Absolutely.
Kitchen, the little vanity, in the master bath, they could put it up, they can mount it. That the smaller TV has, especially if it's a Fire TV, then it's internet enabled, and that has, there's a ton of usage for that, right? So I love that idea. And okay, and then the second one is about 7,500 as well.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
All right. So what kind of income do you think you're going to generate from these two events by the rest of the year? Estimate it.
Let's just see. I would guess probably 70,000 out of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if
probably,
not more than that. Yeah, because it's the exponential is the referrals to like my big financial advisors, my attorneys that I have, or sponsors like that, or partners. Let's
talk about that for a second. So what out of the 15 grand, right? It's a pretty significant investment for a business.
Sure. Yep.
How much of it was covered by your sponsors or partners you love?
So the first one was about 70% because I hadn't had a model yet.
Yeah.
So then the second one, 100%.
So 7,500 out of 7,500. So how often would you invest $0 to generate 35 to 70 grand in business? And here's the thing: how fun was it?
Oh, it's great.
This is work. Damn it, Scott. This is work. This is prospecting. This is lead generating. This is all those this is supposed to be hard and tough. And why aren't you grinding or hustling or, killing or crushing? Yeah. No, what Scott is doing is loving and being generous and being appreciative. And you know what? People are attracted to that and they're responding to it. And I'm telling you, you literally have paid $2,500 for 2 grand events.
Yep.
More people know you than ever before. Yep. You're getting more connected in the neighborhood than ever before. You have 27, right? 22 or 27 people to get in contact with.
Yep.
And you're also you're building you are building a tribe. You have a tribe, but you're building it, and it's building your army of ambassadors. What did everybody talk about the 3 or 4 weeks after Doctor Strange? They talked about you and at Mortgage Doc, Doctor Strange, right? Not that Mortgage Doc is strange, but it's like Mortgage Doc is a doctor and Doctor Strange is a doctor, right? Kind of, both of you, kind of, right? And then the other thing is Top Gun Maverick, that $500 million generated, and $500 million in the first 2 weeks is a record. And they set a record for Memorial Day weekend last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, and then they set a record for the second weekend of least amount of percentage drop. Mm-hmm. So here's the beauty of movie events: is they're spending millions to market your event.
Yeah.
I went to Applebee's, and who greeted me at Applebee's? It was Tom Cruise.
Yep.
Right? And he had a cutout right there. There were even people taking a picture with their arm around a cutout of Tom Cruise, and it had Top Gun Maverick below it. And it's like there were two of them in this Applebee's. And it's like, here's the thing. Somebody goes to Applebee's in your area, they're thinking of you, not Tom Cruise, because you have branded this hype machine to you. So the other thing too is what I love about this is that, um, you know, I have a story that I'm actually going to tell in Event Mastery, and I'll just kind of tell a little bit of it now. Go to eventmastery.com if you're interested in doing some of the things that Scott is doing, right? Eventmastery.com. It starts soon, right? Probably a week actually when this launches. But it's one of those where, you know, Kansas, right? You know the group Kansas,
Oh yeah.
right? I mean, aging myself a little bit. They were even a little bit before my time, but Carry On My Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind, right? Classics of all time.
Absolutely.
Kansas was from a small town in Kansas, believe it or not. And they were playing in a bar. They got a call from New York. And they're all looking at each other. The bartender was like, "Call from New York," and they're like, nobody knew anybody from New York. And so the guy gets on, and it's actually an assistant to a record company's scout, basically, CEO and scout. And they're like, "We want to come hear you play." So they're a small town Kansas band, right? They're not anything, but somehow this person had heard about this band with a violin, and it was sounding really good. And so they're like, "We're coming to town. When's your next concert?" And they're like, "We'll have to get back to you." They didn't have any new gigs. So here's what they did. They rented an opera house in Ellenwood, Kansas. Ellenwood, if you talk about like Kansas, not very big anyway. Ellenwood is this big, like that big. Like Ellenwood, I don't like 675 people or something. It basically is an opera house and a couple of restaurants, and that's it. So they rented out the opera house for like $275, and then they put invitations up for 200 miles. So they drove around and they put invitations up. Did they put "Come Here, Kansas" in concert and, you know, "We're a great band" and this, that, and the other? The answer is no. It said free beer. All the invitations said free beer, Saturday, Ellenwood Opera House.
Nice.
And then in the small print, it said Kansas, or like featured band, Kansas. That was it. But the free beer was like half the page on white, posted everywhere. Well, I mean, we all know the rest of the story, right? Is they waited to play for a while until the people had started drinking, right? And the record label was that we've never seen anything like this. People were so fired up. They were lined up outside it was like, it wasn't just the opera house. They actually had a crowd around the opera house who couldn't even get in and could barely hear the band, but they were there and, you know, drinking free beer. And so they signed them, and then Kansas became Kansas. And what's amazing, I mean, it's like Scott, we are humble enough to know that people aren't just going to come for us. The movie is what they're coming for.
Absolutely.
But what they get is awesome. What they get is our love, our heart, our soul, our spirit, and they get to meet our people. They get to meet our tribe. And that's the power of the movie theater. And you know, too many people try to force feed these events. It's like, man, just figure out what people already want and give it to them. That's it. That's the secret to Event Mastery. I gave it to you right there. You don't even have to take the whole course. Or maybe you can take 7 weeks with me holding your hand through you doing an event, and that's Event Mastery. I literally take you week by week for 7 weeks, and at the 6th week, you do your event with me there. And then 7th week, we go through the follow-up sequence like we just did with Scott. Nice. So I hope you check out eventmastery.com. And, you know, Scott, I'll tell you, I have to ask you this.
Yes.
All right. And I as a coach, I'm a little worried about the answer because we did not prep any of this. So you may not have the answer I want to hear. So, all right. So when is your next event, and what is the next movie you're going to do?
Yeah, so I have 2 events coming up next.
Yeah, that's the right answer, baby. He is my favorite client right now. That's the secret to event mastery is why do you have the movie? So that you can fill the next movie. That's it, right? So all right. So good stuff. All right. So when is it?
So August 6th. So we're doing something a little different. It's not a movie, but we're doing it's the end of the summer. And in my community, the school, all the kids are going back to school that next week. So we're doing a Sayonara Summer Bash. So so it's gonna be a big fun time at the
Your
park.
DJ is gonna love that.
Oh, absolutely.
Play all the summer hits, right?
No.
Oh my God. I have to tell you, everybody here, your one action item from hearing this, I hope, is to get a DJ at your next event.
Oh, absolutely.
A DJ is a weapon. A DJ is like, it's a tool. It's just a powerful weapon in your arsenal for loving on people because music makes us fall in love. Music gives us energy. Music is powerful. So, you can do any event with music. So I love it. I love it. And the reason I asked about the movie is because I do have clients who are trying to be Scott Edwards. They're like, we're going to do a movie event. And I'm like, well, look at the movies that are coming. And it's like, ooh, after July 9th or 10th, it gets a little bit like, oh crap, right? I mean, July 8th and 9th is going to be Thor, Love and Thunder, right? That's a hit. I would do July 9th, which is the day after it launches, or July 16th. July 16th is just sitting there for let Thor come out, let the word of mouth work to your favor. I'm like yelling right now. I'm passionate about this stuff because I know what it can do. So anyway, but after Thor, I don't know what that next hit is.
So that's why we kind of planned a little break for that. Plus, we want to try to create something local in the community for us. Is a little different. But what the next one is Black Panther. That's the one.
Is that in the fall or is that in the? I thought it was February.
So it's November.
So they moved it up. I thought it was February 23rd or something like that.
So Black Panther is going to be beginning in November.
Okay.
So we've teed up that.
We're gonna rock that one, baby. Black Panther #1 was my favorite for a long time. Like that. I mean, then Spider-Man was like, I didn't even like this stuff. Isn't that funny? And it's like now it's like, man, I'm kind of looking. I can't wait for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, that's gonna be great. No, I saw the little ad and I can't wait for that movie either. So
yeah. All right, dude.
Cool.
This was so good. I mean, this was such a great model for people to follow. And we with these two together, we've really covered the invitation, the preparation sequence, right? We've covered the invitation sequence, the confirmation sequence, the event sequence, and now we've covered the follow-up sequence and talking about that RWB and what do we need to do to follow up and who are the people to follow up with. You're doing great, man. And
Thank
just you. The other thing too that I love is you're losing weight, right? I know that sounds like you're losing weight. I can see it in your face and I can see it in your arms and stuff. And it's one of those where we're both getting to our fighting weight.
Yes.
And it's not just about, I'm not just a business coach and it's about life, right? Every time we talk, it's health, wealth, and happiness, right? And a lot of times with the wealth, we're talking about business and what to do financially. But health is #1 for a reason.
Yeah. And I have a quick win on that real quick.
All right, let's hear it.
So on Saturday, we do what's called a DEXA scan, which is this full body scan. And so I've lost just over 9 pounds of fat and just over 14 pounds of weight in the last 3 weeks. So.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Are you doing Fight Club? No, I mean seriously. I've got this. I'll talk more about it for those of you interested. I'll do a little thing about Fight Club.
Yeah,
I'm really on this Fight Club kick. It's my personal trainer I was telling you about before, he had gloves and then he had the pads, and my cardio, usually at the very end, or he would do it in the middle and the end, was punching his hands basically, and he put them up high, put them low, and then he put them middle, and shoot, I'd go like 100 reps at each, right? And what was amazing is, man, I almost instantly felt and saw the results in my core area, which is probably my worst area. And then I started doing my own, because I was doing my own workout, and I found this Fight Club thing. You know, the first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club, but I will talk about Fight Club. I would love to recommend it. I think people would love it. I think you'd love it.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
So I'll get you more information.
Yeah, please.
For sure.
Please.
But I mean, they send you gloves and the whole 9 yards. It's
cool.
It's a cool deal.
Okay, I like it.
You know, I'm not sure if I'm ready to, meet somebody in a back alley, or anything like that. But it is helping me and you get to our fighting weight, right?
Absolutely.
And so this is awesome. So Scott, I really, really appreciate you coming on again, and I can't wait to have you on again in September or so and talk about man, how did the Sayonara Summer go? And I'm sure that Summer Bash is going to be fantastic. And onward and upward, brother. I appreciate you.
Man. Absolutely. I love all this. Thank you, man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for today's Referrals Podcast. Make sure you check out referralspodcast.com for all of our episodes. We're over 250 some episodes. We're getting 10,000 downloads a week or so. And it's one of those where I hope that you recommend it, let other people know about it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. But bottom line is, I'd love to meet you. And a great way for that to happen is to join GenGen.com. Go to joinGenGen.com. In there, you can find information about Referral Mastery Academy. You can find information about Event Mastery and that class that's coming up, and so much more. 30 Mornings just started, where we help people do the ultimate morning ritual and form their own ultimate morning ritual. It's about tweaks, not overhauls. And so that class just began. You still have time to get into that. So I appreciate all of you. I cannot wait for the next few episodes of Referrals Podcast. We have some amazing guests telling amazing stories, and I hope you'll tune in for those. We'll see you next time. Appreciate it.